Welcome everyone to the Thursday night live stream, the chilled stream, where we're going to carry on with the Callisto Protocol creatures tonight. Before we get started, I just want to show you the membership video and we'll be back in 1 minute. So, you want to join my membership?
Gotcha. Sign up.
By joining, you won't only unlock members-only content, you'll also be supporting my channel and the growth of the community. Are you ready to do your part?
I'm doing my part.
For as little as a price of coffee a month,
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
you'll be able to access all past live streams and get exclusive members-only content.
Yeah, boy.
That's less than 49p a video.
Shut up and take my money.
So if you're ready, join now and become part of this 3D journey.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
All right, so as you saw there, you can become a member of the YouTube family or subscription, and you can get all the past live streams from Thursdays and Mondays. The Monday ones are normally tutorial style, and the Thursday ones are smaller, more chilled live streams with smaller projects in them. You can also, if you want, become a Patreon, and you can get all that as well as the tutorial on how to sculpt a Velociraptor inside of ZBrush. This is exclusively for my tier 3 members at Patreon. It's just finished, but you'll be able to get all the videos as well as the files so you can follow along in your own time. And it basically takes you through a step-by-step guide on how to sculpt in ZBrush a Velociraptor, which is really cool. It took a long time to make, and it's really a really cool little project for beginners or experienced artists as well. As well as that, I have a new brush coming out, or come out, which is the 50 Zombie Skin ZBrush VDM brush. This one has 50 unique scratches, boils, skin, tears, you name it, it's got it in this 50 zombie brush skin brush set. So yeah, that's available on all my online stores, and you'll be able to grab that in the description box below. There should be links to those stores. We will actually be using that brush in tonight's sculpt anyway, so you'll be able to see it in use. And if you haven't already, if you're a member, you'll be able to see it being used in previous live stream as well. Okay, so let me just set this up real quick. Put some background music on. This one. Right, yeah, so as I said before, this is a chilled live stream. So if you want to ask me any questions whilst we're in ZBrush and we're sculpting away, or I'm sculpting away, then please, by all means, please, ask anything. If you can, on the way in, hit the like button as well, and also become a member or subscribe to the channel if you really want. Okay, we're jumping to ZBrush now, and let's see where we finished off last week. As you can see, I've got a brand new online store, links below thing at the top there. Because of the chat, new features in the chat, it's made that little section there a little bigger, so I had to make it I had to rearrange the whole scene, but hopefully it's not going to be too distracting. Let's see who we got into now. We got Hamid. Hi, nice to see you. Celestials. We got all the usual people. Tomorrow, nice to see you again. We have a Pranish, who's new, says hi. From Ireland to Portugal 0. I don't know what that means. I'm hoping that's probably something to do with football, I guess. But yeah. Nice to see you all. If you want, you can ask me anything about ZBrush, games design, film design. I've got a few things I want to maybe have a little talk about in tonight's stream, so whilst we carry on. So let's get into it now. I understand that this mini project is turning out to be a bit more of a major project, with the way that I've been sculpting, which is a bit more of a... Sorry, this music's a bit distracting. 1 second. Let's just put something else on. There you go. So I've noticed that this project is probably been going on for a while, but I wanted to sort of explain to you why I'm taking a little longer with this project than I would with the other ones. So I went back to my old sort of files to find the model that I did for this little reference down here. So if I just make this a little bigger. Right, so I managed to find this sculpt, which I did in ZBrush a couple of years ago, I think, or about 2023 I did this. So I found it, and I just wanted to share with you the differences between a speed sculpt and something like this, which is turning out to be more of a game ready or an asset. I wouldn't say game ready, but I would say an asset that you could use in film or game. So let me just move this to the side. And I think I've loaded it in here. Here it is. So as you can see, this is the original that I created in 2023. And from it, you might think to yourself, it looks all right. Looks quite nice. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. But on second glance, if you really zoom in and you have a look at it properly, you can see it's just a mess, really. There's no form, there's no structure. It's very, very much a mutated model or creature, right? Overly mutated with all the alphas. I think when I was sculpting this, I was actually using the mutant skin alpha pack that I created to create these boils and skin variations on him, right? But it came out like, on second sort of sighting of it or second look at it, it actually turned out to be a little bit overly cooked when it comes to the detail. And also it is symmetrical on both sides. So that's what's also maybe a detriment to its design. Whereas if you see what we're doing now, so if I just select this model, you can see the difference when you take your time with your model. It actually comes out much better, right? You don't want to rush your projects. This is what I find a lot of beginning artists will do. They will just rush through and try and get through to the final product without spending time on actually thinking about how the detail is on your character. Now, you would probably, if you were an artist in the industry, you would be asked to do it a lot faster than you would if it was your personal project. But I find that personal projects, you can take your time, very much take your time, and really think about how you're going to create your creature, right? And so as you can see here, we've spent a bit more time deciding on how this mutated thing or creature is going to look. So we've decided, you know, the sort of asymmetrical silhouette for him. Even the detailing stage, which we're on now, is taking a bit more thought and care when it comes to sculpting him. Whereas this one, because it was just a very quick concept, wasn't really I wasn't really too bothered about the detail or the finer details, especially when you start to add color to it. It kind of brings it away from it hides the mistakes as well as the imperfections when you start to add color. And of course, once you start to actually composite it inside of Photoshop, which I normally would do inside of Photoshop, so something like this, then it takes on a new layer of adding to it to make it look presentable. But something like this creature here in ZBrush, just turn that off, you could use it for a game, but you would probably need to detail it a lot further and clean it up a lot more, which is why the one we're doing at the moment is a much better representation of A, the Callisto Protocol game, and B, a much better and cleaner sculpt than the previous one. So I just wanted to share that with you because I do see a lot of beginning artists really trying to rush their artwork, and there is no need to rush your artwork. And with something like this, I might even take it further than taking it into Photoshop at some point. And I want the ability to do that, take it into, say, something like Substance Painter. I want the ability to do that, so I want to make sure that the sculpt is usable later on. Celestial says, how do you know when to stop adding details? As I mentioned before, it's a very fine line between knowing when to finish or when to not add more and when to add more. It is very tricky, because you could go for days and days just doing detail sculpts and stuff like that, and adding detail to him. Just remember, if you're doing this for Substance Painter or a model for a game or a film, then you can probably get away with a lot of the detail in the textures, because ZBrush is very good at for sculpting, right? But when it gets to those fine details, it can't really handle it unless you have a very good PC. There is something down here called Geometry HD, which will help to bring those details out more. I don't typically tend to use this because I work in the game design or games industry, and we hardly use that Divide HD because we do most of the detailing inside Substance Painter with textures. But yeah, it's a fine line. I would try to stay away from, for a game character, as this one would be, I'll try to stay away from too smaller detail, like really porous type stuff. That sort of thing can maybe be added to inside of Substance Painter later on. If it's film, you'll probably find film that the actual model, something like this for film, is also acceptable, because a lot of the texturing and the compositing of the character in film will be done afterwards, and that will actually add to your final result. So when you're working in film, you'll have this will kind of like be your base model that you would send over to the texturing team. And because you're not working with a limited amount of polygons, you could probably get away with, if I just come to geometry here, you could probably get away with about 1 million to 2 million polygons per character. So something like, if this was a film character, you probably get away with the subdivision level 4 as your sort of LOD 0, I guess. And then the texturing artist will do the texturing, and that's an aspect that will add to the detail. And then after that, there's another layer of detail, which is the compositing. Now, compositing is not just making it look nice with lighting and we call it shadows, smoke effects, VFX, and all that sort of thing. It's also useful. Compositing is useful to add extra detail on top. And then you also have was it 2D paint over, shot paint overs. So these are artists that will go shot for shot and paint over the sort of character if it was a close-up of the character in a certain sort of scene or whatever. So there's a lot of other people that will add to the detailing, which will give it even finer and finer and finer detail. So yeah, it's that's in film. In game, this will be your high poly, which would be 5 million to 10 million polygons would be good. Will be big enough for your high poly, depending on what kind of character or company you work for. And then your lowest subdivision level would be around 100,000 for game design. That's like for AAA style. Of course, every studio has their own limitations on polygon count, and that is all to do with the specific game you're making, as well as the specific platform you're working for. But yeah, for the high poly, if it's a AAA game, 5 million, 10 million in the high poly model is fine, but then you want to keep it as low as you can but not lose too much of the silhouette with your topology later on when you're working on the low poly. Hope that helped. Okay, let's see. Check this. Okay. So Pradesh asks, when should we use HD geometry? Again, I don't use HD geometry, so I wouldn't know. HD geometry, I think what that does is, I think I watched it somewhere before. I think it's, you have your model, and then it'll have that subdivision level for HD geometry is something totally different to normal subdivision level. It doesn't work. I don't think it works the same way as normal subdivision level. But you can get more porous detail, like very fine detail, when you use geometry HD. But typically, if you're doing game design, you don't need to use it unless it's something like, again, a very close-up sort of cutscene sort of character, you know, with all the detail. But you can get away with that and having to need that. Pranesh says, I can make square from a circle. What should I make? You can make a square from a circle. Well, I mean, you're pretty much an expert now then. Let's see, who else is here? We got Tamara saying, I love the detailing you can do in ZBrush, but have found that a lot of my sculpted detail is lost when rendering in Blender with exported displacement maps, and have to re-add detail with textures. Okay. That's a bit strange. Are we talking about height maps, displacement maps, normal maps? What's the other one? Bump maps? Which maps are we talking about? Because if it's a displacement map, then it should hold the detail quite well, depending on where you're rendering the displacement map from. So, or you're exporting a displacement map from. So on the Z plugin up here, if you come down to multi-map exporter, there's something called displacement map up here, but there's also export options down here where displacement map is. And in here is the, what do you call it? Sorry. The options to export the displacement map properly. You'd have to check with Blender on how they plug into Blender. Normally in Maya, it's pretty straightforward with Maya. 32-bit EXR export the displacement map, and then you can plug that into the Arnold renderer shader, the standard shader inside of Maya, and then plug that into the displacement map plugin, which is in the graph editor, and that will add the displacement map, and then you can add bump map and normal map to put even more detail onto it. So normal maps are really good from Substance Painter or Mari because you can get more detail onto a texture map than you can onto your model. And so if you add more texture with normals or bump map, extra bump map, so let's say like porous skin, right? The really fine wrinkles on your skin. If you use normal maps or bump maps for that, and then you extract that, export that map, and plug that with the displacement map, it should add the detail on top of the base model, which will give you even more finer detail. But there's a whole workaround with that. It's very complex stuff to get your head around, which we haven't got round to yet, because I predominantly work in ZBrush. But like I mentioned, I want to get this model into Substance Painter in the future. So hopefully we'll do some courses on Substance Painter and setting up for Substance Painter this model, and I'll show you how I would texture it and all that sort of thing. Kester, hello, nice to see you again. Not watching the Traitors tonight. Only just joined. You may have already answered this, but my stream lagged. Recommended poly count for film creatures. Film creatures are basically unlimited. Let me just check real quick. Just a second. Godzilla poly count. So I'm going to take Godzilla for instance. Poly count varies dramatically depending on the model's purpose, ranging from extremely high detail version with over 22 million polygons for rendering to low poly versions, just 1,000 for gaming or VR. So yeah, when it comes to films, they really don't care about the polygon count. There's a famous story about Transformers, the third film, I think it was, the one with the big monster that broke apart the pyramid. Apparently, I think it was that scene. They crashed or burnt out a couple of rendering computers when doing that scene because of the density of polygons on the in the render. So, and the amount of things going on at the same time. So it took so long to just render 1 second of animation because of the amount of polygons and information that they were trying to push through the system, that they crashed a couple of computers by doing that. But yes, videos, film, TV and film are similar, but the games, you definitely don't want to go above, for main characters, above 100,000 normally, depending on the studio again. But they're catching up to film quality, these games these days. So yeah, it's it all depends on which one you want or what you want out of it. Kika says, okay, mine usually end up being about 50 million for ZBrush. Yeah, inside of ZBrush, it's fine to have 50 million inside of ZBrush, as long as you don't take that 50 million and put it into Maya, because you're just going to completely destroy your machine, or completely destroy the or opening up Maya, basically. Cool. So I've got some new. I'm gonna do layer here. Just gonna call the skin, because I kind of want to work on the human aspect now of this model. So maybe I'll just try and do this arm real quick. I think the legs we can leave for another night, but just want to kind of focus on this area, because I think we've focused quite enough on the body on this side. And I kind of want to balance it out a little bit more. So yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, decimate it, then retopologize, and then use displacement maps. That's definitely the way to go. Yeah. Cool. So where is it? So I just got a couple of extra little. Let's do the nails on this first. I want to see if these work. I kind of found these in my backlog of alphas that I collected when I was a fairly new artist, and I thought I might as well just try and use them tonight as well. Just gonna make that pinky a little fatter. I'm kind of sick of looking at hands, to be fair, from the from the Monday night sculpt. It's a bit daunting looking at hands, so I'm gonna make this really quick add-ons here. I'm not going to worry too much about perfection. Modify surface. Oh no, we're going to turn on the surface off. So, let me just turn the back face masking on. So I'm just going to add these real quickly. There we go. How's everybody's week been, by the way? Almost the weekend, which is always a good sign. Can't wait for Fridays these days. Just going to move the concept out of the way because we're kind of doing the human side, so we don't really need to look at the references too much right now. Why are you doing that? Casey says, number of times I sculpted so much to then rotate my model and see back face mask off and messed up the mesh is honestly quite bad. Yeah, that's why I always that's why I've added the button to the shelf down here, the little back face masking down there. It's just so that it's quicker to get to. But yeah, when you're working inside of ZBrush, you just really have to think about how you're using it at the same time, you know, because it's kind of a unforgiving monster, if you know what I mean. It can be your best friend and make your models, and you can make your models look really cool in it and whatnot, but you do one thing, just the one thing that it doesn't like, and it will just screw you over. That'll do. I'm going to add some quick knuckles in here as well. I found these knuckles in here. Oops, a bit too much. Not that one. Might be too low res, to be fair. Or too. Yeah, I'll just add it for now. Detail it in a bit. What is going on with that nail? Yeah. So I saw something recently. On one of these reviews on YouTube, film reviewers, and apparently they're looking to, I think I mentioned this last week, but they're looking to redo or reboot The Mummy, right? But it's not the only thing they're going to reboot or looking to reboot. Looks like they're going to try and reboot or create a sequel to the Gremlins film, The Gremlins. I don't know if anyone's seen that in the sort of the news. I was thinking to myself, because I love the film Gremlins, right? I grew up when I was scared shitless first, but I eventually came round to them, and they were really funny to watch. It's kind of a weird one, really, Gremlins, because it starts off as a horror, but then it just turns to something silly. And so I was just thinking to myself, would a 2025 Gremlins film work today? With CGI and all that sort of thing having a role in it, because I like the idea of them doing it with the puppets. You know, take it, if you're going to do a classic, why not make it as a classic? Don't worry about the CGI and all that sort of thing. Why not make it look like the original? I know what they're gonna do though. They're just gonna completely CGI these creatures up and It'll be a pretty shitty story. It won't have any of that nostalgia. If they bring it to 2025, like the theme of the story into 2025, then I think it's gonna suck. I think it's one of those period films. You know, it definitely has to be one of those sort of period films. If they're gonna make the Gremlins remake, almost like a passing on of the Gizmo to the son, the next son. That's how I envision they should make the next Gremlins film. They shouldn't worry too much about bringing it into the 21st century. To be fair, something like Krampus. Has anyone seen Krampus before? Krampus. I think they should do the same thing with Gremlins as they did with Krampus. Make it whimsical, Christmassy whimsical, but at the same time a sort of horror film, you know? I think that would make it really, really fun to watch. A proper holiday Christmas film. Cakes says, I went and saw Predator Badlands yesterday and I thought it was pretty epic. My favorite film of the year so far. Is that in cinemas? That is in cinemas, right? Or is it streaming? I don't know. I don't really go to the cinema much these days. I just don't like the environment these days. There's kids. I fucking hate them. The Happy Extruder. They would probably do okay, being it's a Xmas seasonal film. Yeah, fair enough. Whoops. Cakes says, never seen Gremlins before, to be honest. You need to leave the chat. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. You have never seen you need to go watch Gremlins, man. Honestly. I think that's one of the films you need to see before, like one of the films to watch before you die. I think that should be one of them. It's almost as good as Die Hard as a Christmas film, because, you know, Die Hard is a Christmas film, and it's kind of in that category, you know, of a Christmas film, in the kind of Die Hard category. The Happy Extruder says, better release it on Halloween. Nah, it's Christmas, man. It's a Christmas film. A Halloween branch off probably would work. Yeah, maybe a Halloween branch off. It would be a good film to release during Christmas or after. I don't know. Maybe after Christmas, not on Christmas. Tomorrow says, I reckon all us ZBrush users are the most critical of unnecessary CGI. To be honest with you, I think we are. It's when you start working in the industry, right, and you see the kinds of waste, like time waste, that goes into, let's say, film or video games. Like the amount of things they could get away. Well, this is mainly films, right? Games, you kind of need an artist, but the amount of things that they waste their time with when it comes to CGI in films, when a practical solution would just been cheaper to do, is absolutely crazy. Like, it's just, I don't know why they do it. I think, like I said, I think Gizmo should, or the Gremlins, they should just go and do practical, really make it a part of like a fan. The fans will love it, you know, and it'll really hark back to the sort of 90s. Was it 90s? Yeah, it was the 90s, or was it early? I can't remember. But that sort of time period, you know, it'll really take people back to that sort of time. And also, you don't set it during the, like I said, don't set it during the 2025. Sorry, set it in the 90s. Don't set it in 2025. Just look at Stranger Things, right? If Stranger Things was done with a setting of 2025 or whatever it was sort of made, like 2025 or 2024 or whatever. I think it would be a lot less successful, you know. Sergio says, I've seen it as well. Monsters looked good, but the plot had too much loopholes. I'm guessing you're talking about Predator Badlands there. The Gremlins, villain, and Predator paint schemes. The Gremlins, villain, and Predator paint schemes. I have no idea. Oh, it looks similar. Okay, yeah, looks similar. Yeah, they do. Yeah. I really like like I said, I really like the models of those Gremlins. I think they really did a good job on the painting and texturing of them. So it'd be a shame if they didn't sort of hearken towards that again. I think. I don't know. I think a lot of people are kind of done with CGI. You know, I think it was kind of overly used, especially in film. It was definitely overused in film today. I think people are just looking for an escape from CGI, maybe. So, you haven't seen Die Hard? Oh my god. Losing the world to live here, man. The latest Dexter season had a bit of unnecessary CGI, in my opinion. Yeah, probably. I didn't even realize Dexter was still going. I thought it was something that already finished. Oh, I don't know. You are missing a lot of cool movies. You tell them, Happy Extruder. Tuaro says, I think Gremlins was 84. Possibly. I'd have to double check. But yeah. Definitely a good film to watch. Especially at Christmas time. Yeah, especially at the Christmas season. Okay, that's a pretty ugly looking hand, but I'm gonna go with it for now, because if you imagine the kind of people that were on Callisto, because remember this is a Callisto creature, and Callisto was a prison moon. Is it prison moon? I believe. They wouldn't have the best of hands. In fact, I think his nails are a little bit too pedicured or manicured, so kind of need to maybe trim them back or whatever. But it should be fine. It looks weird. They look weird. They do look weird. I might have to revisit these and fix them. Yeah, definitely. But it's just adding that little bit more detail, you know. So that's not too bad. Very 80s, yes. This was Tuaro says. The Happy Extruder. Yeah, it sure seems like a... Oh, Celestial says there was also a cool movie with puppets called Labyrinth. Let me just double check that 1 second. Labyrinth. Is that what that singer guy, isn't it? David Bowie. Or Bowie. David Bowie. I never saw that film. I thought what you meant was the other puppet film that they redid in Netflix. What was that one called? They had it was what was it called? Dark Crystal. Yes, thank you, Tomorrow. Yes, Dark Crystals. That was really cool. But I also found, I think it might have been the same puppet. You know those sort of bird creatures in the Dark Crystals? Dark Crystals. Let me just grab an image from here. Here we are. So you see this sort of bird-like creatures here, these things. I think what they did, not these ones, because these ones are from Netflix, right? The older version of the Dark Crystals I think that they used them in Farscape, in one of the episodes in Farscape. I could be wrong, but there is an episode in there of these aliens on a ship, and they acquire technology, and they have the same sort of look as the Dark Crystal birds, but I mean that thing was built on a shoestring. That what do you call it? That Farscape show was built on a shoestring. That's what I miss about as well. Is what I miss about TV was the sort of Buffy era and the what do you call them? The Star Treks, the old Star Treks, not this new Star Trek, the old Star Trek, like Star Trek Voyager. In fact, that's probably one of my favorite Star Treks is Star Trek Voyager. It's one of those ones. It's an episodic, but at the same time, it has a constant long story, which is Star Trek Voyager's trying to get home because they got lost in space. Funny enough, same thing that John Crichton got lost in space. But anyway, I digress. So I love sort of those early 2000s, 1990s episodic TV shows. I think these days, they worry too much about the big story rather than just having, like I said, episodics. So, the villain of the week type thing, like the Power Rangers villain of the week type thing. If they could go back to that sort of storytelling in TV, then I think they could do quite well. But if you look at the latest Star Trek stuff that they have going on at the moment, it's nothing like the Star Trek that was before. It doesn't even resemble it, to be fair. Jim Henson's Factory. Yes, that's the guy from the Muppets. Tomorrow says, if you like Jim Henson's scary puppet work, check the 1980s series, The Storyteller. Incredible stuff. John Hurt. I actually met John Hurt. I don't think I told this story before. Storyteller. Yeah, they did. They made a was it Asda or Sainsbury's advert. The Storyteller. Is that right? Oh no, that was the BFG. Sorry, not that one. But anyway, I met John Hurt. I got to show him my. It was my graduation, and he became from university, and he became the sort of school dignitary or chancellor or something. The special person that represented our university, and I had to show him my university animation, which was great at the time. I thought it was amazing what I managed to actually make, but looking back at it now, it looks bloody awful. But that was because I literally had to learn all the 3D stuff by myself. Because we didn't really have a 3D course per se. It was an animation course, but it wasn't 3D related. So at the end of the 3 years, or at the end of the second year, you have to choose a medium that you're going to go with into the sort of third year. And I decided to go for 3D because I wanted to hurt myself, and I love pain. But I honestly worked from dusk till dawn, or dawn till dusk. I don't know which one it is, on my animation and learning 3D. When it was a time where you don't have artists like this right now, like what I'm showing you right now, on live streams, because live streams wasn't a really big thing back then. So you kind of had to, like I said in previous ones, you had to sort of learn it from a book. And so I had that Maya book, which I still have to find and show you guys someday. Yeah, it was really tough to learn 3D back then. And anyway, I managed to make my film, and I got myself a first with honors from it, so I didn't do too badly. But I literally had to learn to do everything by myself within about a year, and that's not like an easy thing to do. So I had to do rigging, modeling, storyboarding, concepting, modeling, texturing, rigging, animating, and then compositing, all by myself. Oh, and music. So yeah, it wasn't an easy ride. Meeting John Hurt is a pretty epic name drop. Yeah, sorry, I sort of got distracted there. So, like I said, we all had to show our videos or animations to the university because it was in a lecture hall. And my animation was chosen because only a few people whose animations were chosen to show. And because I was only one of 3 people that did 3D animation, they decided to go with my one, and I got to show John Hurt the animation. And then afterwards, there was drinks, and I'm telling you, John Hurt can drink. He was literally like, because we all sort of gathered around him to talk to him and stuff, but he was standing literally at the bar, not at the bar, but at a table where there was constant drinks being put down. And he would just pick up a champagne and drink, and pick up a champagne and drink, and pick up a champagne and drink. And he got through about 6 or 7 of these things, and he could still talk properly. And I was just thinking, oh, bloody hell. Anyway, me and my friend managed to catch up with him after the sort of drinks, and we got a photo with him. And then I think that was the last time. Yeah, that was the last time I sort of saw him in person, because I think he died a couple of years later, which is a shame because he's really good. I really loved his acting abilities, and he's just a really nice guy, you know. But yeah, that's my story of fame. To be fair, I met John Hurt just before he left this world, this mortal coil. But it was nice. It was nice to, you know, have someone that famous sort of see your artwork and present your artwork to the people. It's great. Pradesh just posted people for the Discord. Brilliant. I'll tell you what, I think it's next week. No, it's the week after. We're going to have a portfolio review. So if you remind me on the last week, Thursday of this month, I will get up on portfolio review and we can go through that live on stream if you want. Kato says, it's fine. University doesn't teach 3D either. My uni course was a waste of 3 years. Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, technically, yes, it was a waste of 3 years for me because I could have just learned it on my own in my bedroom. But if I hadn't gone to university, I probably wouldn't have thought about doing 3D, and I would have done something much more mundane, I guess. Not that doing mundane jobs is a bad thing, but I wouldn't have sort of gotten to where I am now if I hadn't sort of taken that first step into 3D through university. But yeah, definitely, if I went back now, I would definitely not go to university. I would have saved myself tuition fees, and then I would have just worked from home and just built up my knowledge that way. But if I know the knowledge now, oh my God, if I know the knowledge now and I went back in time, couldn't hold me back. Sounds a lot like my uni. Yep. They expect you to do all that in 1 year. I had the same struggles. Yeah, John heard the joke from afterwards. Celestial says, I'd go for traditional art if I could go back in time. Depending on how far you want to go back in time. I'm talking a couple of years. I'm not talking 1600s. But imagine if you had the skills now and the knowledge now, and you went back to the 1600s or something, and you showed them a sort of drawing or whatever of a perfect human face. Because I mean, you look at those sort of pictures. Some of those pictures from the Renaissance, well, not the Renaissance, but the medieval period. They don't really look like faces, do they? There was no. I guess it's also because of like the church held back a lot of the art, I guess, in those days because it was blasphemous or something. I don't know. Something to do with the art restricting, the churches restricting the ability for people to not evolve, but to learn, about sciences and all that sort of thing and whatnot. So yeah, it was a bit of a bummer. But imagine if you went back now and you had the knowledge now, you'd be the most famous person in the whole of England, I guess. The kings would be wanting you to do the portraits and whatnot. Yeah, I would love to do traditional artwork more. I just don't have the facilities to, I'm not going to hire somewhere to do it either. Oh God, why can't I get these lines right? Yeah, I think if I had a huge garage or a huge barn where I could just make a studio, like a proper traditional oil painting studio, and just be left alone to paint. I think that is my dream, right? Is to have like a big enough house and have like a massive shed or garage or whatever in the garden, and just put on my headphones and paint with traditional art, with traditional methods. I think that'd just be the best thing. I kind of get jealous of these, jealous, but yeah, I guess it is jealousy. Jealous of these people who have that sort of ability to paint traditionally in their own time, and they get commissions, and all they do is sort of painting or whatever. I envy them, you could say, quite a lot, because that's exactly the sort of thing I would love to do. I think when you've had like years of computers, like sitting in front of a computer, you kind of want to do something else afterwards, and I think that's the sort of thing that I would love to do more of, like is traditional painting. I keep watching things like Sky's Portrait Artist of the Year, that sort of thing, and I just think to myself, really love to just do that, but it doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, if I went back in time, I'd probably take the almanac with me as well. Don't worry. And I'd just start winning bets or whatever. Celestial says, no, not that far. My 18 would be fine. Yeah, with the skills that you know now at 18, yeah. Tomorrow says, okay, here's a question. How often have you toiled for weeks on a piece of art, 3D or otherwise, only to be asked, wow, did you use AI? I've never been asked if I've used AI. I guess it's because I tend to. It's because I what do you call it? I do the time-lapse videos and the breakdowns through YouTube and Instagram, so people can see it's not AI. So I've never actually been asked about my artwork like that. If I was to be asked that, then I'd just probably tell them to get a life. Nah, I wouldn't say. Or maybe I would. Yeah, get a life, mate. Not everything is AI. But yeah, never really been told that my artwork looks like AI. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or I don't know. Maybe AI is just better than what I can do. That's probably why I don't get told very often. People need to stop worrying about AI as well. It's not that bad right now. When it starts to take over, then we'll worry about it. When they can walk, talk, and literally take my job, then I'll worry about it. So, and that is exactly why I'm considering leaving the industry. Oh. Trust me, guys, you still got plenty of time in the industry. AI is not going to take over overnight. You'll probably find things like, what can AI? AI can take over, or probably will take over, mathematics jobs, or those sort of calculation jobs and stuff like that. That's the sort of thing I reckon AI will take over first. Yes, there is video editing and video stuff like that, but I don't know. It's not that much talked about in actual industry when I've worked about AI. Maybe I just haven't had as much exposure to those talks. But yeah, it's not really something that gets talked about much in the studios. So I wouldn't worry too much about it just yet. When they literally start bringing in a machine that says AI on it, then start to panic. Happy Extruder says my toaster is still smarter than AI. Yeah, pretty much. Celestial, says, so how many years do we have till then? Don't know. I'll tell you what, if you really are massively worried about it, because I know a lot of people are, you'll have to start maybe in your spare time thinking about what else art related or essential type art skills can I do that AI could never do, right? Things like, like we were just saying, like doing traditional painting, right? AI will never be taken seriously as a traditional painting or painter, because people love stuff that is actually made by hand, and there's more to it than just AI. You could probably become the person who overlooks AI. So if you learn a bit more about AI, then you'll at least be ready to step in and monitor it if they need a monitor or whatever. There's plenty of things you can do. I think they keep saying that there's going to be an AI bubble and whatnot come in, and everybody should prepare for that. So there's lots of things. There's quite a lot of things that AI is just not. It's just not going to be. It's just difficult. I think I wouldn't worry about it just yet. I don't see game designers that I know losing their work over AI. It's mostly reductions in studios because they might have overhired or whatever. Not to say you shouldn't be worried, but yeah, if you worry about it too much, then you're just going to worry it into existence, I guess. I would be more worried about other things than AI, such as, the economy and whatnot, the sort of political and things that are going on in the world right now, or sort of escalations in foreign wars and whatnot. That's the sort of things I'm more worried about than AI at the moment. I don't want to get into politics, but that's the sort of thing that I am much more worried about. Keksa says they're already doing AI and meant to metahuman, only a matter of time before they do the same with creatures. Possibly. AI as a companion tool, but standalone has a long way to go. Pranesh says next Thursday is on the 20th. No, it won't be next Thursday, mate. It'll be 27th. 27th is the last Thursday of this month. To be honest, Casey says, to be honest, someone has still got to tell AI what to do. So there's always that. Yeah, exactly. The Happy Extruder says AI could never replace personal preferences, or can it regulate a new perfect product, just like shopping for clothes? Yeah, I think that's one of the things that AI needs to learn first, is to replicate a model 100 million times the same to get that sort of perfection, because at the moment it struggles to recreate. From what I've seen, it could be updated by now, but I think it struggles to create the same thing over and over again without some kind of imperfection in it, And when it comes to film, even though they've come a long way, I will give them that. They have come a long way in stabilizing for film. There's still that uncanny valley, which I guess they'll get around to some point. But yeah, you'll just worry yourself to death. Enjoy the time you have if you are in a studio, or if you do get into a studio, just enjoy the time you have, because nothing really lasts, really. So God, it's pretty doom and gloom, isn't it? But you know what I mean. No point in getting worried about it. Celestial says, the war is what worries me the most. I only have 10 hours of electricity per day right now. Bloody hell. Sorry to hear that. But thank you for being on the live stream. I'm sorry to hear about that. I hope you stay safe, though. Definitely stay safe. Casey says, I think the best way is to make a business that runs using AI so that you still get paid. Yeah, you could probably, if you really want, a bit difficult, but not impossible, you could own massive, because how when the Bitcoin revolution came along during the lockdown, they had those rendering farms for Bitcoin mining. You could do that sort of thing. You could sell space, virtual space, or rendering capabilities if you buy enough rendering farms for AI to use. I guess maybe that could be something you could look into. You could, maybe that's something. Tora says, what I meant was, if I make some music, do some writing or piece of art, there's an automatic question mark over its validity. Can't say that word. From people not familiar with the process I've gone through. I guess. You see, that's the problem with the day and age we live in, is that it's just over saturated with fake AI, music, videos, footage, images, and then you have people who I'm not going to say they're dumb, but you have people, young people, who've never lived in a world without AI or tablets or mobiles or internet, constant internet. I remember when we first got internet, my family, we had the dial-up tone, and that thing was horrendous because it only let you have like internet for a couple of hours, and as soon as someone picked the phone up, it was gone. So it's a mixture of all those things that the young generation have never been away from, which is a detriment, because I think young generation need to step away from all things social media, all things sort of with a screen basically, and go out and touch some grass, because they're kind of missing out on their youth. It's not good what they're doing. This sort of stuff that we use is very detrimental to people's health and sanity. So yeah, so they don't understand the difference between realism. Some of them between realism are like things that are made for real, like art and music and whatnot, and the fake stuff, because they've grown in a world where they both collide. They've all collided, and they can't tell the difference. And I think there will come a time when it will just all crash anyway. Be fair, it's all going to crash. It's all going to stop working at some point, and it's kind of like a ticking clock. Celestial says, thanks, I'm lucky to have it right now so I can watch it. No, if you have electricity, please use it for things that are much more valuable, like, I don't know, heating or a kettle or something. If you need to use it, don't worry about this live stream if you can't, if it's too much. But thank you again for being on board. The Happy Truder says, AI community in filmmaking, create that, and you would be okay money-wise. Oh, sorry. AI continuity in film making, create that you would be okay money-wise. I'm going to have to come back to that one. Casey says, shame AI isn't something that we could just punch in the face and then move on. Yeah, exactly. No, they don't want us to touch the grass now. They want us to eat it. Someone going vegan saves the planet. I went vegan for a while, I must say. Yeah. I went vegan for about a year, actually. Yeah. I'll tell you, it's not difficult. Once you're in that mindset, it's not difficult, but I did see a real decline in energy. Like I was very lethargic. And then I went back to meat, and I haven't looked back since. Tara says, you heard it, folks. Marcus says, cut the stream and go outside. Yeah, go on. Bugger off outside. It's like, what? It's only 9:30 in the night right now, so you can go outside and touch some grass or whatever. The Happy Extruder says, that is so true. Since we have been around longer, we have original references to art, characters, etc. Especially as those things get smashed together in the AI machine. Exactly. I'll tell you what's a good and I've seen this a lot on YouTube, right? Because I basically live my life in front of a machine or computer. If you feel like you want to do your own thing, or you're kind of, I don't know, stuck for ideas on how to get out of the rat race or whatever, if you have a good enough speaking voice, or you don't even have to have a good speaking voice, to be fair, you have everything you need from everyone else, right? So what I mean by that is, if you ever go on YouTube and you type in anything on YouTube these days, reactions. So you go and you watch reactions to, I don't know, what could we say? So there's this whole thing about the reactions to America's EBT, which is their version of the social benefits system in America. If you just type in EBT reactions, right, you're going to get loads of people who have loads of footage from TikTok about EBT, other people's footage. Now what they've done is they've taken that footage, made it into their own video or put it into their own video, and then they react to it. And I think that's what's going to be the thing going forward, especially with the social stuff, like social media stuff, is reaction stuff, reactionary content. So you're going to get big time, what do you call them? Creators or small time creators, big time creators. And all they do is they extract videos from an original source, put it into their video, put it on YouTube, get paid. You know, say something about the video, say something about what's going on, and then get paid. That's not difficult to do because you don't actually do any actual work apart from some research or whatever, if it's depending on what you're reacting to. But that's the sort of like it's like Asmongold, right? You know, everybody knows who Asmongold is. All he does is sit in front of his computer for hours on end and reacts to things that are in the news, or it's in whatever the social aspect of life. All he does is just react, and he's made himself a millionaire. And I think that's the sort of thing in the future people are going to do more of, if they haven't already started doing. So, you know, that's something, if you're really worried about losing your job or whatever, there's always something like that sort of career you go down. But yeah, that's the sort of idea that you know, you could use if you wanted to step away from the industry, you know, completely. Kater says, just went outside and touched some grass, also touched some fox poo too. Oh, lovely. Joking. You don't want to get fox poo on you. That stuff don't come out. That stuff stink. You know, foxes roll around in their own crap, right? No, thank you. Okay, let's add a new layer. Kind of want to get some noise going on the skin here. So I'm gonna use a spray for this. Stroke. Gonna up the stroke. Lazy step. This just gives a nice little noise to the surface of the skin. Right? I don't know if you guys can see that. Maybe I have to change the to a blend. It's probably even worse. But this is a cheap method to make sort of porous type skin detail along the surface. So you don't have to use this skin alpha either. You can also go to this alpha 60, which will do the same thing. It's a nice sort of noisy brush to add to the skin, and you don't have to be perfect with the strokes either. You could just go in any zigzaggy direction to mix up the sort of rotation of the sort of map, you know. Just a quick and easy way again. And when you're doing this type of thing, it's good to use the layers inside of ZBrush, as I always say, because you can then go ahead and turn them off, turn them on, and see what they look like on and off. Talking from experience. No, I think I watched a documentary. Happy Extruder says, I will react to myself being lazy 2-minute videos of blank facial expressions. Why not? I mean, someone out there is going to watch it. There's, you know, I've seen some reactions where people who use Twitch, which I don't, I haven't got time to learn that. But there's some people on there that have no members watching them. There's some people on there that are doing their own thing, you know. I think there's a guy who was doing woodwork as a live stream. Nobody in his chat, nobody in his channel. And some guy, some random millionaire or whatever, billionaire, just started to watch him, and he tipped him a generous sum of money because the guy was just, enjoying his sort of skills, his craft, and yeah. So, I mean, those are like once in a lifetime, once in a blue moon experiences, but it just goes to show that anyone can be watched online, right? Anybody, you don't even have to be that exciting to watch. You just need to sort of do it, really, and people will just watch. It's crazy. If you had told me that like years ago, I would have told you you're crazy, right? No one's going to just sit there and watch someone on YouTube or the internet for hours on end. But there's people. There are people out there. So you can see now I'm using this this other alpha here to get some more surface noise going on the skin parts, so it really does look more like skin now. Now this type of thing, if I was in Substance Painter, I would have just done it in Substance Painter because it's such a fine detail. It probably won't come out on the normal map, right, or the bump map. This sort of detail is probably better off done inside a Substance Painter, but we're just going to do it here anyway. And if you really want to see more of that detail, then you can just simply duplicate this layer, and it will duplicate the depth of that detail that we had before. So if I turn this on and off, you can kind of see it coming through a bit more. I think that looks all right. Yeah, it's not too bad. Kate says, crazy how we can reach people from all over the world from one place. Yeah, I know, right? That's nuts. I think it's a good thing. It's also not such a good thing. Sometimes, maybe, I don't know. Depending on how you use the internet, I guess. But it has been a beneficial thing, I guess, for the human race to be able to connect to other people around the world, right? But as I said before, you have to be careful how you use that connectivity, because it could be a bad thing. Casey says, if you wanted to market your business before, it was a lot of work. Yep, true. Now you just sponsor a YouTube channel and then 200,000 people could potentially find out about your brand. Very true. When I started this whole endeavor into YouTube, I never thought that I'd get to, how many is it now? Something like 67,000 subscribers. Never thought I'd even make 10,000, to be fair. And I think, although I think my case is a little bit more special because I think I did it at the right time. I did it during the pandemic lockdown. And so I managed to get people, when people were locked down and they weren't able to go outside or do anything, I think that was the best time to start a YouTube channel. So keep this in mind for next time if there is another lockdown. Have yourself a plan or an idea for a YouTube channel. Try making a plan today so that if there is ever something like that again, you'll be ready. Now, it's not going to, YouTube is all very good to get your product out there, but in terms of salary, unless you're making, unless you're sort of, your videos are getting hundreds and thousands of views, there's hardly any money in it, to be fair. Dark Siren, hey, nice to see you in the chat tonight. Yeah, so like I was saying, if your views aren't getting, if you're not getting enough views on your videos, then it's kind of a net negative. Because that's why the best thing to do if you're going to do a YouTube channel or whatever is to constantly just bombard YouTube with videos. You want to be like constantly uploading and whatnot, and depending on the sort of audience you get, because I think mine was just all a little bit of a fluke, to be fair, in the algorithm. Like, I think they were just looking for someone or things to keep people interested in YouTube, so they just started picking random people up, and I guess mine must have been one of those random ones. So I kind of got lucky in that sense. But yeah, if you're not that way inclined, or you're trying to gain a lot of followers in a very short space of time, you need to, if you want to be a YouTube content creator, you'll have to sort of work your sort of butt off, making constant videos. Thank you, Dark Siren. Casey says, yeah, it's not a great salary unless you really blow up. Yeah. And even the people who are really blown up, like the ones that have been on this platform for years and years, even they are struggling right now. There's so many different algorithms and stuff, things to do with the algorithm. It's crazy. Every time you think you're getting good at what you're doing, YouTube will then come along and change the algorithm, and then you have to sort of rethink or replan things, and it's just, yeah, it's too much. In fact, if I had kept with the videos like I had been, and not done live streams or whatever, I think I would have been in the gutter by now. But I'm not a content creator, I'm just doing this because I have a following, and that's what they asked for. But I mean, if I didn't have a big following, or if I felt like it was taken away from my my life, I probably wouldn't do this, because it is a lot of work. And I don't think a lot of people understand that when they say, "Oh, I want to be a content creator." Okay, cool, yeah. What sort of content do you want to make? Oh, I don't know, anything. Oh, well, that's helpful. Yeah, that's gonna work well. How many hours do you want to do? Work on content and stuff. Oh, I can only, a couple of hours here and there. No. If you want to be a full-time content creator, you have to put your back and bone into this thing. It's not just a one-time thing and then we're done. If you really want to work on it, this is a full-time job on itself, and you're not even getting paid. At least with a full-time job, you're getting paid. Anyway. Casey says, I think people tend to think YouTube and content creation is a really easy job, but you can see that it's a lot of work: thumbnails, shorts, long film, videos, editing, etc. Yeah, exactly. Dark Science says, bro, I want to create scary character. With which brushes or brush package I must use to make it scary? I mean, I just recently got this 50 zombie skin alpha brush, but there's plenty of brushes on my online store. I would maybe, I haven't seen your artwork before, but get good at anatomy and the basics first before you start to do creatures and that sort of thing. Where's my music gone? Oh, I think my headphones are dead. Oh no, it's just the music. Music died before I did. That's great. Anyway, Happy Extruder says, learned so much from channels like yours, and the courses are awesome. I remember starting with Michael Pavlovish. Oh Jesus! Start up ZBrush videos, then met so many cool artists like yourself and 3D printing too. Yeah, that guy is amazing. He absolutely knows everything about ZBrush, and that's worked in his favor. So yeah. Yo, Van Gorge. Van Gorge? Nice to see you. Is that how you say it? I'm bad with names. Casey says, I'm currently working on a Brazilian wandering spider project. Pretty happy with it so far. Cool. Bro, how can I have sharpened masks or sharpened armors? Oh, that's a whole video in itself. I mean, sharpening masks is quite easy. If you want to sharpen a mask, and let's say we have this one here, right? That's a mask, but it's not very sharp, right? You can just hit Control Alt on the keyboard and tap on the model, and it will sharpen that mask. Or a quicker way is to go to masking and sharpen mask through here as well. But yeah, it's a whole video in itself on how to use masks as well as the hardened armor and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a good question to ask, but it's a very long project. That's why, guys, can you hear my music? Because my music keeps cutting out for some reason. I don't know why it does that. Let me know in the comments. Hamid says, how many parts are left before we get to the composite? I think I managed to, I said in the beginning of this stream that I wanted to take my time a little bit more with this one, because I really want a good sort of creature out of this, because I want to take it further later on inside of Substance Painter. So I want to do we still got these 2 legs to do, and I guess by then we can actually take that into compositing, and because we're pretty much done then, right? So we could composite it after the 2 legs are done. So the time now 1:31. Next week we'll do the 2 legs together at the same time, because I'm not going to worry too much about them, and then we have the portfolio review, and then the week after, so 3 weeks time or 3 weeks time, we can do the compositing. But as I said before, I really want to make this something to take into Substance Painter at some point. So I really want to get some good looking details on here as much as I can. Hope that helps. Okay, music's fine. Cool. Dark Siren says, where are you from? I am originally from South Africa, but I moved over to England when I was 8 years old. So yeah, born in South Africa, moved over when I was 8. Cakester. No. Dark Siren asks, how many times have you subdivided this model? I've subdivided it 5 times, currently on 5.9 million polygons. It's not much, to be fair. Normally I'd go to around 10 on my model when I'm modeling, but I've decided to go with 5 for now. I think Celestial's electricity might have gone out. So you see the sort of thing I'm doing now with this model. This is roughly the type of the kind of speed you want to go through when you start to do high sort of detailing, right? You kind of want to go through the speed. Now, as you get better at detailing, you'll probably find that your speed is faster, but you really take your time. There's no rush needed for this stage. Happy Extruder says this is the part time-lapse doesn't give credit to. Yeah, no, when I'm doing those time-lapse videos, so the way I do those time-lapse videos is I will sculpt something for half an hour and record half an hour's worth of video. Then I will stop the recording, no matter where I am in the sculpt. I'll just stop it, reset the recording, and then carry on, because I like to work in increments of half hours when I'm sculpting, concept sculpting. I normally do half-hour stints, just so that I can put the pen down, sort of walk away from the computer for a few minutes, and then come back and restart it or redo it, or no, restart the timer and carry on. Because you can get very, tunnel visioned when you sit and sculpt for hours on end. You can get very tunnel vision, very, very much a tunnel vision, and lose track of what you're doing, or not even lose track, just sort of miss the final points or whatever, right? So kind of want to take your time, go away, do something else, make a cup of tea, sit on the toilet, do anything else. Maybe just go outside for half an hour and touch some grass. No, I'm kidding. Go outside and go walk around the neighborhood. Anything, and then come back and look at what you've done, and then carry on. And that also helps with the editing of the videos as well, because they're half an hour each. It's a lot easier to cut it up later on. Dark Sirens asks, brother, which one is better for cinematic animations? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, sorry. Next one. Maya or Blender? Well, that's a tricky one, because Blender is an open source program, and I know that there's a lot of artists that are former lead artists in the industry that work with that open source stuff and kind of contribute to it. So they have the knowledge from the industry on what is the best thing to have. So they pour their stuff into Blender, and give, and they make it open source and easier for artists to use and whatnot. But Maya is still industry standard, and it will still stay industry standard for quite a while. So if you want to learn anything or be in the industry properly, then you have to learn Maya. It is good to have skills in Blender, because a lot of studios these days are moving towards Blender. But for like TV, film, I think there's a lot more studios still using Maya. So that's still heavily used. If you can create a video about sculpting orc, and please don't do it fast. Do you mean like a whole orc? Because if you become a member of the YouTube channel, there is like this sort of time lapse, these live streams where we have done an orc before, and you can kind of watch in real time how we sculpted it inside of ZBrush. But that's only for members only, really. These live streams go to members only after a week, so that they can enjoy it, because they support me. Kater says, I get tunnel vision too. I'll think my work is good and then open it up the day after and be like, what the fuck is this? And then refine the model more. Exactly. It's like painting, right? It's the same premises as painting. If you do painting, you'll probably think it's really cool. It looks really good. And then you go back to it a day later and you're like, what the hell is that? And then you can see it's all lopsided or whatever. But at the time, you didn't really see that because you weren't looking at it with fresh eyes. So same principle for sculpting. Like the Lord of the Rings orcs. I've done the one I did was a Warcraft orc, but Lord of the Rings orc, that's got a lot of armor. It's got a lot of hard surface stuff. It'd be quite cool to do something like that. That would be a much longer live stream. Could probably be a good tutorial, maybe, because I am starting to learn more about hard surface stuff anyway inside ZBrush for my work purposes. So maybe you could do that for a future live stream. Exactly, Cakester. Felix, I also learned Maya in school, forced to use Blender since indie studio doesn't have Maya licenses, but since then I really love Blender. Yeah, indie studios, by the way, are going to dominate the market soon. They will use Blender because it is open source and free. So it would be stupid of them not to use it. So if you're worried about these big studios going for AI stuff, I think I mentioned this last week, but I'll just say it again. If you're worried about big studios using AI and them losing people from the industry, don't worry, because there will be lots of indie studios looking for good artists. And I guess if you already know how to use Blender, then you're probably going to be in the top part for hiring when it comes to that. So yes, Blender is going to be a competitor because these indie studios will use them. And I think indie studios are going to be the way forward in the future. Just because they got less limitations on them because they're indie. And they'll have all the best artists working at them from these ex-studio artists from these massive studios. Felix says, nowadays I use Blender for modeling and clean up stuff and Maya for UVs, rigging, and animation. Brilliant. I mean, you got a good set of skills. Casey says, Blender has really come on the last 5 years or so. Yeah, I agree. I just haven't had time to work on it. I'm hoping next year I'll have more time to dive into other programs, because I have a new layout for next year, which I will talk to you guys at some point about, because it's a bit of a change to the YouTube that I want to do. Oh, I just found out that was it StreamYard? I can now stream in landscape and portrait at the same time, so that's pretty cool. I want to test that out, and I'm wondering whether or not to put it on Instagram as well, or just use it on YouTube as a portrait and landscape version. So it'll be 2 live streams, but one on one side. So I have to see about that one. Facebook, yeah, I pretty good as well. I haven't thought about that. I have got a Facebook group, so that will be interesting. Oh, Dark Siren, thank you for being here tonight. I'm glad I could answer some of your questions. If you come at the last week of this month, Thursday, the last Thursday of this month, there's a portfolio review. So if you have a portfolio you want me to review, then I can put it on live, and I can walk you through your portfolio and see where your artwork is at, and maybe help you out with some questions if you have any. But thank you for joining tonight. Felix says, you streaming on Twitch as well? I don't stream on Twitch. There's so many things that one person like me has to, all these subscriptions and websites I have to keep up with, and now with don't get me started. I don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it, but the whole English tax thing that's going on next year is just going to be absolutely crazy. This Make Tax Digital, this new thing that the government's rolling out, where I have to provide every quarter a tax form, like a tax receipt or whatever. It's just all those things combined. I just don't have time to learn other things like that. It's really draining, really. It kind of makes you not want to do this sort of stuff when especially with the taxes. I mean, it was so easy. Just do the taxes once a year, and then that was it. But now the government wants us to do it 4 times a year, to produce 4 times a year our taxes or tax forms, and then still do the tax return at the end of the year. It's too much, man. It's getting too much. Casey says the digital ID thing. Yeah. I'm not happy with that either. Trust me. I think it's a stupid thing. I don't think anybody in this country is really happy with what's going on, to be fair, but we don't want to go down that road. Ahmed says, if you were going to texture this creature in Substance Painter, would you render it in Marmoset or inside Substance Painter itself? I think I have got a license for Marmoset, but I think, as a preview or a sort of a look at, a preview, sorry, of your work, I think Substance Painter's got a nice little rendering engine in it to get you a good quality looking image for that. So yeah, maybe just Substance Painter, but I could take it into Marvelous as well. So what boils we got? Just going to add a couple of boils onto the side. I know that I didn't want to add anything onto the side of the arm, but I think if we just add 1 or 2 in here. Why is that coming up? Yeah. Just 1 or 2, maybe 3. Just so it's got some kind of continuity with the rest of the body. So it doesn't look just like a human's arm all the way through. Oops. Yeah. Another thing I want to do is I just want to round these off a little bit. They look a little bit lopsided. There we are. Case says, pretty crazy when you realize the government don't tax you because they need your money. They tax you just to reduce you. I know. That's it is such a shame, really. There's just so many people like the government wanted to go after the people, the rich people, right? For taxes and stuff, and to make them pay their fair share. But in doing so, they forced those rich people, because rich people don't care. Rich people will just go elsewhere, right? They will just leave the country because they have the means to do it. So when they start to tax them, they leave, and then the working class or the middle class will be the next people on down the list for taxing. So you're actually just taxing the middle class and the working class more, because the millionaires and billionaires will just go somewhere else, you know. And so it will rely on us to foot the bill, and that's just the way it is. Exactly. They'll just move to Dubai. Hamid says, do you think why zombie movies aren't scary anymore nowadays? I think it's just I think it's two things, I think, why zombie films aren't scary. One is because CGI. Actually, yeah, it's three things. So one, it's CGI. CGI has ruined zombie films. And number two, sorry, is they love to show the monsters in the sunlight in the daytime, right? That don't work. If you want to have a monster zombie film or monster film or creature film, hide it in the shadows. The only reason why horror films work so well back in the day, like Alien or The Predator or even Jaws, right, is because you didn't see the creature. You didn't actually see the creature very much. It was either hidden by shadows, hidden by dark spaces, or in the case of Jaws, it was hidden behind music, because the animatronics of Jaws was just so bad that they couldn't use it, and so they decided to just use music to emphasize when Jaws or the shark was about, I think. And then the third thing is they just don't know how to write horror films anymore. Hollywood is going through a existential crisis at the moment when it comes to storytelling. They just can't seem to get it right these days. Kater says, every time I watch a film now, I break down the creatures into clay models and it ruins the scary effect. Yeah. If you work with creatures and stuff, or if you work in that realm of art where you create creatures or you create models and stuff like that, then it is it does take away from the scare factor. Just look at this 1 second. Just look at these right now, right? Now, in the game, these things are scary as hell. But when you look at them in a picture, you know, it's not scary. But in game, when they move around, my God, they are scary. That's the one thing I hate when watching other people play video games. Well, you know, like on YouTube, or whatever, is when they see a scary monster, and instead of keeping an eye on it, they turn around and they start to walk away. Or they do something that they turn the whole camera away from the scary thing. And then you're like, oh my God, is this thing actually behind us now? Or is it, you know, where's it gone? And I think they do that because they know, I think they know that that the audience are going to be even more freaked out because they can't see the danger, you know. Casey says, would be nice to have a horror film that doesn't have a possessed creature. Yeah. Yeah, true. I think that's why like The Conjuring and horror films like that do so well, though, because you know, the monster is something that you can't see. If you can't see it, then you're going to be more scared of it, aren't you? But I still think psychological horrors are much better than creature features. The scariness comes from the cinematography, movement, audio, and things like that. Exactly. Almost every horror film I see now is some possessed creature. Like, please come up with something original. Can they, though? I mean, have we gotten to a point where we're just so used to, well, not used to, but we've just seen everything. And now with AI, when you type in make a horror creature, it probably makes something completely different that you've never seen before. And it's scary for like 10 seconds and then, you know, it's not scary anymore. But are we so desensitized, I guess is the word, desensitized by everything that we can't think up anything new? Music is the same thing. We're now using the sort of background music or the acoustics or the non-vocal music, the non-vocal part of the music in today's music, and they're just rapping over it, or they're singing over it, or they've changed it slightly, but it still has the same tune. Like, creativity is just, it's no longer there, I think. I think people are just giving up on creativity. It's more of a, you know, make something fast generation instead of take your time and think of it. Right. Oh, got some more questions. Felix says the scariest monster movie for me was The Descent. The first time the monsters appears, yeah, that was pretty scary stuff. There was also a Descent 2 as well, but I think that was just more of a action film than it was a horror film. But those were some creepy creatures, man. Proper creepy. Oh, there was also announcement of a new Fallout Season 2 trailer. I would put it up on here, but I think I'll get a copyright. But I think that come December 17th, that's going to be a really good show. I love the Fallout universe, by the way. I can't get enough of it. If you haven't already, check out the How to Sculpt a Deathclaw tutorial on my online stores. It's a really cool tutorial. You'll be able to sculpt your own Deathclaw from the Fallout 4 universe, step by step, with a beginner to middle or to experienced artists can work on it. I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. But yeah, I saw the trailer just before coming online, and I think that's going to be a really good show, to be fair. I think it's going to be much better than the first season. Even though the first season was also very good, it's still going to really do well, I think. It's just so many Easter eggs, and it's also based in the Las Vegas sort of area, or New Vegas. Definitely going to be looking forward to that. It also has a Deathclaw in it, and I think in the newest trailer you get to see a little bit more of it. So if you really are a fan of Fallout, check that trailer out. It's one of the new ones. Ari Aster makes the best modern psychological horror movies, in my opinion. I'm going to check out his work. 1 second. Ari Aster. Movies. Oh yeah, Hereditary. I've seen that. I think I've seen a few of his things. Yeah, some good stuff. Oh, these horror films here. Yeah, looks pretty cool. Also, why don't they film it so it's from the perspective of of a ship GoPro, and you can hear the character breathing? That would make it more lifelike. Are we talking? What are we talking here? Are we talking about horror films in general? Because I think there's quite a few of those type of films with GoPro sort of thing. Another reason zombie movies aren't scary anymore is that we've grown up and we've seen so many zombies that it has become repetitive for us. Yeah, that's true. I think that was very true until 28 Days Later came out. Then it became, what the fuck is this? This just made zombies scary again, right? The whole idea of a zombie that can run fast, that's up the scare factor. And then that was the big thing for a few years, and now it's just like, okay, yeah, it's just another zombie. Happy Extruder says the Jester 2 was okay. Love the Jason Baker mask update in that sequel. The Jester 2. 1 second. The Jester 2. Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that. I would put it on the screen, but I might get copyright. Well, not copyright, but the takedown. It's quite scary. Santiago says hello. Hello. I was going to say you're just in time, but I think we're coming close to the end of this stream. But thank you for joining this late for horror film. Yeah, there are quite a few of those types of films, like GoPro films, where they strap it onto people's heads and then they walk around like a documentary type style. That Blair Witch one, I don't know what everyone keeps going on about the Blair Witch. I don't like the Blair Witch. I think it's a lot of rubbish, to be fair. I think the funniest thing about the Blair Witch was when Scary Movie took it and did a parody where that woman was constantly dripping snot out of her nose. I think that was just brilliant. But I wasn't that intrigued about the Blair Witch, to be fair. Thank you very much, Santiago. I haven't watched 28 Days Later, 2025 yet. Yeah, me neither. From what I've seen from reviews, because I'm kind of in the stage of I don't trust films anymore, right? Because films are very expensive to go watch in the cinema, and I just don't trust the people making them anymore, because they just so it's just so predictable, about what they do with it. And it doesn't matter how good the CGI is or how good the models or the monsters are. If the film doesn't have a good story, then what's the point? You can literally make a film with no movie monsters in it at all, no CGI, none of that. And if it had a good story, I would be impressed. Like, you see that film, The Weapons? Now, I know that's got a little bit of CGI in it, but have you seen the film, The Weapons? That was a good film. That was very much a psychological horror type film, and it kept you on your feet the whole time, and it was just really, it was written really well, right? Now, I still waited until it came out on stream, but that would be a film that I would go out and see. I'm no longer really interested too much of, Marvel's 999 ninth action star hero creature or character, superhero character film anymore, because although they get the aesthetics, sometimes they get it really, really well, like the look of it really well, they still have a major issue when it comes to storytelling, right? And I can't be the only one that notices this. I think it's just bad. And from what I've heard from people online that know more about this, the whole Avengers Doomsday that they got planned, I don't think it's going to be very good. There's already been, apparently there's been talks or rumors that the actors aren't getting along with each other on the set, and they're starting to some of them are being filmed on a green screen or blue screen away from the actual filming, and then they are composited in later to be with the other actors in a fight scene or whatever. So I just think to myself, come on. There is such a thing as overusage of CG, right? Like overusage of the technology. And I think it's not going to be very, very well made, to be fair. Casey says, yeah, Weapons was good, a different take on a horror, and it was good. Yeah, I think the music really helped with the film The Weapons. Weapons was heavily influenced by Ari Aster, according to Zach Krieger, the director. Oh, see? Learn something new every day. Casey says, Marvel films have gone really downhill, and the series too. I found the Disney Plus series to be so boring. Yeah. I think anything Disney does touch, and I don't really want to say this because, they might be listening, but I think anything that Disney touches it's just not doing very well with the audience, I don't know what it is. I think it's because they try to make it audience friendly to everybody, that they just sort of, it doesn't come across as genuine. I think Disney should stick to kids stuff, and when it comes to more, I don't want to say adult themed, but more mature themed stuff, they should maybe scale back or outsource it. That's what I'd say. Because they're just not doing very well at the moment. They're still looking for the modern audience. Yep. Yeah, I don't know where that modern audience is. Must be in the ether or something. The thing about that, though, is if they're looking for the modern audience, right? But what about the ones that are die-hard fans? What about them? You know? The ones that will go out and buy, I don't know, 50 limited edition comic books just so they have it in their collection. And those things cost a lot of money. You know? Because the modern audience is not buying 50 books. They're not even going to see their films, I don't think. So yeah, they need to sort their themselves out pronto if they want to have a chance at survival. Hamid says, thank you for live stream and answering the questions. By the way, already look fantastic. Have a great weekend. Bye. Have a great weekend, man. Yeah, we are getting there with this guy. I think spending a good amount of time on this sort of stuff is very good. And it's something that I don't do enough of, and I really love just to take my time on some stuff. So, but yeah, thank you very much for joining tonight, and I'll see you next week on Monday if you're going to be around on Monday. Cake says, doesn't he go woke all the time too? Well, yeah, definitely. Predator Badlands is a Disney film. It has done well at the box office, so expect more of that kind of thing. Yeah, but Disney's also got Alien Earth as well, I believe, and I don't think that went down very well with the sort of Alien fans. I could be wrong, but I've seen enough reviews to see that those die-hard fans who have YouTube channels are not happy with it. I could be wrong though. Yeah, but like I said, I'm very cautious now about going and actually buying a ticket to go into a cinema. Plus, cinemas have kind of gone downhill since I was a kid. You know, like it's not clean, or it's not clean. The floor is tacky. The people don't shut the fuck up inside the film when the film's on. Part of my language, but that sort of thing really gets on my nerves. And then you got these young people who think they own the place, and you tell them to be quiet and they just tell you to shut the fuck up, and it's just like, I don't need that headache. I would rather wait 2 weeks and see it on stream, because within 2 weeks it's going to be on stream anyway, so what's the point in going to the cinema? You could build your own cinema in your own home, right? For cheaper. Well, not for cheaper, but you could build your own cinema at home and enjoy it in the comfort of your own house without having to worry about people making a noise, or I don't know, irritating people. I think that's the dream now these days. Bloody hell. Not seen Alien Earth yet, but CGI looked good from trailer. Yeah, I think you'll be quite. But I would be quite disappointed with the story. I'm going for films now that have good story. I don't care about CGI. Like I said, I just watched Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revelations, and they have some really bad CGI. Not really bad, but they have bad CGI in terms of today's type or sort of comparison. But I didn't care because the story was really good. So I don't care anymore about the CGI. in films. As long as it has a good story, that's all that really matters, really. Felix says, I heard it's a good movie, but a bad Alien movie. Yeah. I think the last Alien movie that I think was really well done was Alien Romulus. I think that was really nice, a really nice callback to an Alien franchise. And I'd like to see more of that style, you know. Happy Extruder says there was a code back in the days for moviegoers, and now it's gone. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there was wasn't a code. It was just manners, really, wasn't it? Yeah, I think just people don't have manners these days when it comes to cinemas, and especially for the price you're paying. I ain't gonna pay that much to be shat on from a dizzy height. Casey says, yeah, a lot of teenagers seem to go on their phone a lot while I'm at the cinema. Very frustrating. Exactly. I agree with Alien Romulus. I quite liked it. Good. Manners don't exist now. Too many single parent stuff. I didn't want to say it out loud, but I think you got a point. Yeah, I think it's not just that. It's that the people who are parents just they haven't taught manners, I guess, as well as they were kids. Maybe they were kids when they had the kids, and so they don't care. Yeah, there's a whole thing about that, and I don't really want to dampen that side of the world or that sort of point. So there is a whole sort of genre of people like that are just annoying. Gotta watch me P's and Q's on this show here. The Happy Extruder says, I've been watching anime with my son lately because really not a good selection of stuff to see. I did enjoy Vinland series. I want to look that up. Vinland. Okay, that's pretty old school looking. Yeah, I think you're right. I think anime's doing very well at the moment. As everyone else, I'm guessing everyone here who has kids has probably seen the Demon Slayers. Is it Demon Hunters or Demon Slayers, whatever that show is on Netflix? That thing is just blowing it out the water. And apparently they're now doing a live action version of it, or they're looking at making a live action version of it, which is crazy. If you like stories, you will like Vinland Saga. I'll have a look into it. Casey says, let's not go into that. About single parents. Yeah, probably not a good idea. The Vinland writing was very good. Is it because it's a relatively old show, or is it a new show but in an old art style? Because if it's an old show, the writing's going to be very good. But then again, anime, like a lot of the anime these days, has got very good stories in it. So, yeah. I could see that. Right. Okay, so as you can see, what we've been doing tonight is the sort of thing that you should do with your own sculpts, is to take your time and really go in, and once you've got to the stage, obviously, go in and define it quite a bit. Because if we just turn off the sort of stuff that we've done tonight, so if we just have a look at the arm frame the arm here. Just move this out of the way. So you could just frame the arm. I'm going to turn this layer off, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and this one. So this is kind of where we started off. We have some other stuff that we've added, so the veins and the nails. But you can see how we took an arm, which has got hardly anything going on it, right? Then we started to add more layers to it. So we added these alphas first to add some noise. And then once we finished adding the noise, we then started to go in with the standard brush and basic brush sets and just start to refine it. So you can see we started to refine it here. We added some stretched skin, sort of in certain areas, and some relaxed skin. And then we started to add on top of that, so another layer of detail on top of that to really tighten that detail up again. So adding more alphas, adding some more line work. If we come around the back here, turn this on and off, you can kind of see the before and after. And this is the kind of stuff that you really want to take your time and really want to enjoy it. You know, put some music on in the background, put your favorite film on in the background, anime, and then just go ahead and start to detail and just take your time. Keep it within 30 minutes sculpts each when it comes to this part, just so you can take a break and then come back to it. But yeah, this is essentially the point where you want to really get in there and start detailing your creature. 2019, he says. Okay, it's quite recently. Maybe you have mixed them up. Maybe those boils are going to really pop in Substance Painter. No pun intended. Yeah, I mean that's why I think it'll look pretty well inside of Substance Painter once we get it in there. I think it's definitely on its way. You know. What I'd like to do is, yeah, you know, I'd love to retopple it properly, but I think what I'll do for time's sake is just use this remesh here that we created and then take that into Substance, because it's not bad. It's for like a texture test. It's not bad, that topology, right? So we'll just take that into Substance with the high poly, and we'll bake it all down at some point and do the texturing on top as a test inside of Substance, and then you can see how I kind of work inside Substance, I guess. But we first need to get this model done, so we're not going to worry too much about that until we get to that point. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there for tonight, guys. I think that's quite a lot we've done here tonight, and yeah. Oh, sorry. Kesa says I'm going to head off now, but thanks for the stream. See you later, mate. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Yes, says Happy Extruder says stay safe. Happy Extruder says thanks for the stream. As always, an awesome time, and chat room. Stay safe and keep extruding. I like that. That's a pretty good pun. Oh, Isel the behemoth. Isel, you need to get a new name. This was inspirational. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Good session from tomorrow. Good. Have a good weekend, guys. Again, have a great weekend. I'm going to quickly say thank you to all of my, where are they all? Oh, all my members up on the board here. Thank you all for being here. There's a chat comments, get that out of the way. Thank you all for being here tonight. I would have gone through them, but it's just so late tonight, but I will have to update this as well. So thank you all my YouTube members for joining. If you haven't already, please consider joining. It helps to pay for everything that I use and keep this channel afloat. So thank you very much. And also to my Patreons, thank you all for my Patreons. You all are great and amazing. And I'll have to think of a new tutorial for next year for you guys, but thank you very much for being members of my Patreon. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you have a relaxing weekend, I guess. But yeah, take care, and I'll see you all on Monday. See ya. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes, and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching and stay safe.